Hi, Emmeline here, and it is day 4 of the 40-day challenge, and today is feeling a little crunchy. I think I'm like a few days out from starting my menstrual cycle, like probably 5 to 7 days, and so I'm really starting to like kind of feel the crunchiness of that. And I think like a lot of it is, I think it would not be crunchy. Now, this is interesting. I think it would not be crunchy if I didn't have so much to do, because it's really just a tiredness. It's a tiredness, and my body's like asking me to slow down and not do so much. And there's like that conflict and that struggle of wanting to do all the things that I need to do, that I need to get done, and not feeling energized to do that. And so that's like the internal struggle. And I think that honestly, this is I don't know, I think it speaks to a lot of the root of collective unhappiness and displeasure and disease are these kind of conflicts, because we do live in a world that has seasons and cycles, just like our bodies have seasons and cycles. And women, of course, we experience this more viscerally on a regular basis. But men do too. It's just not as obvious in men as it is in women, because we are on this monthly cycle, this 28-day cycle. But so much of our unhappiness and our imbalances, I really do believe they come from fighting against our natural cycles. Trying to be something that we're not, basically. Something that people outside of ourselves have told us that we should be. Women, for example, it's like we've tried to basically put ourselves on a 24-hour cycle, which is more of the cycle that men run on, is like a 24-hour cycle, which a lot of people talk about that, and they talk about it as if it's fact. I'm not not convinced that is as factual as people try to say it is. There definitely is merit to it, for sure. When we talk about just like circadian rhythms and all of that, they do run on more of a 24-hour cycle, a light-dark cycle, right? But, women, we have an additional cycle layered on top of that. And, when we try to ignore that cycle, then we end up in states of dysregulation. And there's no hacking this, right? It's not something that's meant to be hacked. It's not something that's meant to be overcome. It's something that's meant to be recognized and honored, because it has a function and it has a purpose. And it is actually part of being on this earth in a female body, in a body with a womb and a uterus. And yeah, I just like, this is kind of the feminine wisdom that has really, unfortunately, gotten lost in today's spirituality. And I feel like this is the aspect of spirituality that humanity has been missing, and that's why, that's one of the reasons that even people who have devout spiritual practices, they often live like very ungrounded, not very joyful, not very happy, not very loving lives, not very full lives. And it is like this more feminine aspect of spirituality, which is accepting the role that you chose for yourself, and accepting the blueprint that you were born into, to some extent, right? And trusting that you chose this particular coding for a reason. Trusting that you chose to incarnate on this planet for a reason, and that it's not something that you're meant to transcend. Ha ha ha. So much of what I call like masculine spirituality, they teach us that spirituality is a path of transcendence, almost like you're meant to transcend physicality. And you know, when I talk about ascension, I am absolutely not talking about transcending physicality. You know, we can think about like our planetary consciousness is ascending, if you will, but it's something that's happening as like an entire collective consciousness, not, you know, certain people trying to escape from what is happening on a planetary and even I think like a like cosmic level in this universe. Because the universe too, we go through cycles, right? We go through cycles, and you know, we're coming to, actually just kind of came to the end of a cycle on this planet, and you know, in this solar system, in this universe, I guess, and are entering a new cycle. And that's what a lot of people are experiencing. But it's not something to transcend, it's not something to get out of. And that's how people get stuck in karmic loops. Like, I really do believe that. That's how people get stuck in basically cycles of reincarnation that they don't want to be in, is because they don't want to be in it. When in reality, this was their choice. This was what they chose. And when there's a conflict with that, right, you have to keep repeating the same things, the same lessons over and over again until you release the conflict, until you resolve the conflict. And yeah, I'm just getting to experience that very viscerally as I move into my menstrual cycle, is like what the conflict causes, right? When I have all of this stuff that I want to get done, this is what my ego wants, right? But then over here we have my physicality and my biology and the grounded part of me that has a different kind of wisdom, right? About the cycles that we should go through to be really, really well nourished in this physical reality. And there's a conflict between those two things. There's a conflict between what I want to accomplish today and what my body actually is, what's reasonable for it, you know. And it's can be very frustrating because, you know, for me on a day when I am you know, more high energy, I can like knock out just tons of stuff, right? And so we've been programmed to think that if you can do it one day, then you need to be able to do it every day, and it should be consistent. And if it's not consistent, then there's a problem. And so then that creates the conflict when we're asked to slow down, when we're asked to do less. Yeah, but I think it's a beautiful lesson for me. You know, it's not, you know, this is not news to me, but I am having to learn to work with it on a deeper level, because on the path that I'm on, I am committed to embodiment. I am committed to being fully here on this earth in this lifetime and everything that comes along with that, and to being fully human. And that means honoring my cycles. It means honoring my body. And so part of that is the lessons that I'm getting. But, you know, I'd rather get them now than need to repeat them lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, you know? I know that I don't need to do that. I know that. You know, I've been shown that many, many times that it's my choice. It's my choice. And I choose to be here because I love it. And so I just have to, yeah, it's easy to remember for me too, honestly, that I'm here because I love it. Because I mean, look at this place. Look at the beautiful trees. Of course I love it. But you know, then there's like this kind of ego part, right? The programming. The part that wants you to fit in and be safe and do what's expected of you. And that's the part that we're working on. That's the part that we're working on. But yeah, I don't think I have too much more than that for today. I think the only other thing that I've been I think that's contributing to this too, is this detox cleanse that my partner and I are on. And definitely I can feel today like I want a grilled cheese. I want some French fries. I want a piece of avocado toast with a lot of butter on it. And of course, these are all things that we can't eat. We're all just eating like raw fruits and vegetables, just like raw fruit until 4 p.m. and then we can have some vegetables after that. But yeah, I can definitely feel like in this time of my cycle, my body is really wanting that like more dense, heavy food. And it's just like a real irritation that I can't have it. So that is not helping the situation any. But, these are just things to navigate. They're things to notice and, kind of notice where it's coming up in my body. For me, I know that like what's coming up for me is like all in my heart space, which that's where I carry a lot of stuff. That's where a lot of us carry a lot of stuff, is in our heart space, and that like heart protector and just, a lot of armor and a lot of sometimes wounding also just like built up here. But yeah, we'll see how it flows over the next few days. I do have to get some things done because we do have a launch coming up, and this is where the negotiation comes in. And in the future, I will be better about planning things so that I don't have to like do this to my body. I don't have to push so hard in these times that are meant to be more for rest. But I'm learning, just like everybody else. I'm learning. But anyway, I think that's all I have for today. Wishing you all a beautiful, lovely, wonderful day. Bye bye.